Bob, I'm ready. Good afternoon. It's 1 o'clock and time for the St. John Daily Word. I'm Pastor Ron Genaro, and I have a few brief announcements and then a small devotional. So we want to remind everybody, this Sunday is still 7:45 and 9:30 a.m. with the 9:30 service live streamed. Those are our Sunday worship services. The weekly update, every Thursday or Friday. It comes out late Thursday or early Friday. Madison sends out an email with news of what's upcoming and things going on. As we slow down for the summer, we'll have to modify that. It may be every other week or something along those lines. We want to let everyone know also Faith and Fitness exercise class, and it resumed on the 24th of March. And I'll get that adjusted and fixed up. But they're going to be running all summer long, we anticipate. If they take a break here or there, it'll only be because of holidays and things like that. But every Tuesday and Thursday, the Faith and Fitness exercise class meets here at St. John. Parkway Food Ministry is always in need of non-perishables, peanut butter, canned goods, cereal. Right now, I understand they need rice. And so if you can get rice and drop that off, that would be very helpful. The fellowship breakfast will be Wednesday, April 22nd at 8 a.m. in the fellowship hall. All are welcome. And then also the fellowship dinner that week is going to be, because the last day of the month, the last Friday, is that Friday, the 24th. And then they're closing down for the summer. And we'll see about when they reopen, but they will not be meeting in May, June, July, or August. The return of the prodigal son will be a 4-week study led by Pastor Dorman. It started last Sunday, and had 28 folks there. We were very excited. It was a very good class, and hope to see more there this week as well. That has 3 weeks remaining, and so we encourage folks to come and be a part of that. I have a devotional from Psalm 116, verses 1 through 4, and I'm going to read all 4 verses, and then I'll make my comments. Psalm 116, verses 1 through 4. I love the Lord because he has heard my voice and my supplications. Because he inclined his ear to me, therefore I will call on him as long as I live. The snares of death encompassed me. The pangs of Sheol laid hold on me. I suffered distress and anguish. Then I called on the name of the Lord. O Lord, I pray, save my life. In those 4 verses, what it's talking about, what the psalmist is talking about there is how he cried out to the Lord because he was in need of being rescued. And the only sure hope of rescue comes from God. Many of us find ourselves in situations and have experiences where we are in desperate situations. And when we cry out to God, God hears the prayer of our heart. God hears the call of our heart. And then is therefore able to come and to rescue us. And that's important for us to know, is that God does in fact promise to be with us and to rescue us. And especially if we have cried out to God for salvation, and we have placed our faith and our trust in God, and our hope is in God, then God has bound himself to us. What I think of when I think about those things is the covenant that God made with Abraham. Before his name was Abraham, when he was Abram, God made a covenant in which God promised to be Abram's God if Abram would be his person and be in connection with him. Now, the promises that Abram made is that God would be his God, and that he would honor God by not worshiping other idols or other gods, that he would only deal with the Lord directly in his prayers and for his hope. God promised Abram that he would make his descendants as plentiful as the grains of sand or as stars in the heavens. And what God did is he actually, the word that is used is he cut a covenant. And what happened is Abram saw God in the form of a censer, right? An incense thing. And there was an animal cut into 4s, and Abram didn't walk through, but God walked through. And what that meant and what that signified in the ancient world when that happened what that it signified is that the one who was pledging to go through that contract, that covenant, said, whatever happened to those animals, if I fail to live up to my part of the bargain, then may what happened to these animals happen to me. That's why they cut a contract, cut a covenant. We use that language still today. But what's unique about that is Abram didn't walk through. God told him not to walk through. But God walked through. So God put God's reputation, if you will, his reputation, on the line. So God has bound himself to his people. And if we have cried out to God, if we have said, rescue me, then God has bound himself to us. This became a very real thing for me many years ago. I was driving and I had a traffic accident, a head-on collision. It was relatively at slow speed, but it was still fast enough that it hurt. It totaled the car I was in. I was in a very tiny economy car called a Dodge Omni. And the only thing that happened to me is that I had the head-on collision. My favorite pair of pants got ripped at the knee, and they weren't able to be salvaged. And so I had to get rid of those, and the car was totaled. I had to get another car. My mother, who actually technically owned that car, because even though I was in my 20s, my late 20s, I was using her car. And what happened is she went to collect some things out of it at the junkyard. And the person at the junkyard said to her, did this person die? He said, when we brought this in, or is the driver okay? Because when they pulled it in, the tow truck driver was asked a question by the yard manager, and the yard manager said, oh, you have another dead one, meaning not the car, but the person. I had a head-on collision with a bus, and the pavement was wet. It was raining. It was newly paved. The oil was coming up. They were actually still paving it while the oil came up and the rain hit, and I just slid in a curve and had a head-on collision. And I remember feeling like I was falling into a pit, and I cried out to the Lord, and this was my prayer. Lord, I'm ready to come see you. It'll be okay. I'd rather not. There's some things I still have to do. I want to raise my kids. I want to marry. That was before Janine and I were married. I wanted to marry Janine. I was pretty sure she was going to say yes. And I wanted to continue my life as a pastor and in ministry. But I said, but not my will, your will be done, Lord. And then I just felt like I was snapped out of it. So the tow truck driver told the yard manager, he was standing by the side of the road talking to the sheriff's deputy with a torn pant leg. And that was it. When I got into the sheriff's deputy's car, because I needed a ride somewhere, and I had taken all my stuff out of the car that I needed, golf clubs, bowling ball, softball equipment. It was a portable locker, the trunk. And, I was 27, 28. So, it's what happened, 28, 29. So what happened is I got into the car. The sheriff's deputy got in, pulled his hat off, sat it down, turned and looked at me and said, you're a pastor? Yes. You know your life was just saved for a purpose. Now live that life to fulfill God's purpose. You and I know that we have a purpose because God loves us and cares for us and desires that we serve him in every way possible. So I want to remind you today, God loves you, this church loves you, and I love you as your pastor. God bless you. Have a great day. Don't forget to cry out to the Lord, for he will hear you and respond to your prayer and will rescue you. Bye now. Have a great day. Thanks for being with us today.